And here I was thinking going into SEC Media Days, I'd be the only one buying stock into South Carolina this year. No, a lot of people are buying stock into the War Chickens at Willy B this upcoming fall. Projected to finish fifth in the SEC preseason poll, coming off a 9-3 finish. South Carolina has the intangibles on both sides of the ball to duplicate their success in 2025. A Heisman Trophy caliber quarterback, a can't-miss generational defensive end, and some newcomers added on in via the portal that might catapult them into the college football playoff for the first time in program history. Shane Beamer has the culture, he has the identity, and he's targeted the right type of names to lead this team to success. But to get to double-digit wins, he's going to need to have these three bold predictions happen. So let's break it all down. Welcome on into SEC Unfiltered. It's Cole Thompson here. Gamecock Nation, like the video, hit the ring notification, and of course, it's your boys. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel because I talk South Carolina football and college football daily. Download the podcast version of the show. Check out all of our great work found at SECUnfiltered.com. And as always, make sure you're following us on social media at SEC Unfiltered. And we are proudly brought to you by our friends over at FANDUEL. Go visit FANDUEL.com/SECU. Join today and get started with $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Lay down $5, win that bet on LaNorris sellers hoisting up the Heisman Trophy or South Carolina getting into the college football playoff. You're going to get $250 in bonus bets simply by playing at FANDUEL.com/SECU. So bold prediction time. Remember, bold prediction means out of left field. So when I'm right, you come back here and say, Cole Thompson said it first. He's the smartest man in sports. And when I'm wrong, what was a bold prediction? It wasn't supposed to come true anyways. Bold prediction number one, you got a mobile quarterback. But I also do think this offensive line is going to be better than advertised. So I think that South Carolina gives up the fewest sacks in the SEC this fall. Last season, they ranked 123rd, 41 sacks allowed. That's not sustainable. Doesn't matter if you have Robbie Ashford as your starting quarterback or Spencer Rattler as your starting quarterback or a 6'4" Cam Newton-esque clone in LaNorris Sellers running the ball and boot scooting boogie behind the line of scrimmage. It's not sustainable. It's not ideal. But it's another year. It's another year of veteran play and more consistency. Josiah Thompson is your starting left tackle. You know what he brings. Trevon Baugh is coming on in. He is going to, I think, have a better season. Tree Bobalade is going to have Babalade is going to have a better year. Boaz Stanley, one of my favorite additions that came in through the portal this offseason, has apparently been the talk of all interior play on both offensive and defensive sides of the ball. And this is a kid that has all the expectations and the size to really set up quality running lanes and pass protection. So I look at this offensive line and I say to myself, well, it's another year with a quarterback that they know how to play behind. You have a potential All-American left tackle. You feel better about the right side of the offensive line. You're also getting a pretty decent blocking tight end in Jordan Dingle, and I think Michael Smith is going to be better than advertised. Not that people are talking about the tight end position. I'm just going to throw that out there. But you add all that together. You're telling me that this can't hold a block for 4 seconds? Because LaNorris Sellers, I can tell you right now, within 4 seconds is going to realize pretty quickly, hey, I got to tuck and run, or I got to unleash this one down the field, and hopefully I'll see a receiver calling it in for 6 points. He knows that. I think many people also agree that that's going to be the case. So an offensive line just needs to hold its block long enough to kind of give an option for whatever your quarterback wants to do. And you're going to have a couple games to get acclimated, get sped up to speed, feel like that you're trending in the right direction before the more daunting games come along, like facing off against LSU and hosting Alabama and hosting Oklahoma and having to go play against Clemson at the end of the year with one of the best defensive lines in football. And I know you hate Clemson. Most people in Columbia, South Carolina hate Clemson, but they do have a good defensive line. You got to go ahead and give credit where credit's due. Having that ability early on in the season with several, not tune-up games is the right word, but games to get your footing underneath you, I think is really going to be beneficial for this offensive line. And it may be the most underrated unit in all of college football for the season. I'm buying a lot of stock in what the Gamecocks are doing in the trenches. I think Josiah Thompson has an All-American type year. I think you will see Boaz Stanley have an All-SEC type year. And one of your other three offensive linemen is going to make a lot of noise. Therefore, you're going to be the most improved offensive line. And I think that because of the fact you have a mobile quarterback, you give up the fewest sacks. So that's bold prediction number one. Bold prediction number two, and it's kind of cheating here, but I don't really care. I think you have three receivers finish with over 700 receiving yards. Now, you're probably asking yourself, now, why is that bold, Cole? Well, usually you have your stud, your 1,000-yard playmaker. Sometimes it would be, the hope is in Nick Harbor, but you look in the past, maybe it was supposed to be an Xavier Legette. Maybe it was supposed to be a Alshon Jeffrey. Maybe it was supposed to be one of the other highlight names that have come through the program in years past that did meet the expectation. But then you have the drop off. Okay, well, the next guy has 400 yards, and the guy after him has 222 yards, and the guy after him has maybe 115 yards. So you have that X Factor dude who is always going to be open, finding avenues and creases to go ahead and put yourself in a prime position to be successful, and then a bunch of dudes that you just hope are going to make plays. I don't think that that's going to be the case. I think that you are going to have three playmakers that are all turning heads in the SEC. South Carolina has a very underrated wide receiver room. Now, I'm not saying it's elite. I'm not saying it's anywhere near the standard of Alabama or Auburn, or I would go as far as to say Florida entering this year, maybe even Georgia or LSU going into this year, but underrated because of the potential. Just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean it's not possible. Just because of your thinking that it may happen for Mazeo Bennett or Nick Harbor doesn't mean it will or won't. Just because you haven't figured it out and seen consistency doesn't mean they can't do it. And so I'm looking at this season. Nick Harbor decided to not become the fastest man in the world and focus only on football. So that gives him time to build that rapport and relationship with the LaNorris sellers. Mazeo Bennett, who I refuse to give up on. I think that he is going to have an incredible year, whether it be at the Z position, whether it be on the outside, whether it be in the slot. I don't care where he's going to play. I think he is going to have monstrous games, multiple 100 receiving yard games. And then I really do think you are going to have a breakout freshman. And my pick right now is Malik Clark. Clark last season was phenomenal in high school. 967 receiving yards, 68 catches, 10 touchdowns, playing in Rock Hill, South Carolina High. I think that there's a lot to like about what he provides both in the slot and on the outside. And also remember, Jared Brown still is on this roster. And he had a couple of big-time games last year. Not to mention, you also have Lex Cyrus. You also have Jaden Sellers, Donovan Murph. You also have Brian Rowe. And I'm going to throw in the tight end position. Jordan Dingle is somebody that you want to know for an offense that is going to be called by Mike Shula. Because remember, when he was doing things with Cam Newton out in Carolina, the offense was predicated on utilizing the tight end. So maybe Jordan Dingle is that guy that gets you over 600 receiving yards. Maybe it's going to end up being Michael Smith, the tight end that people are expecting to be the next big-time name and Josh Simon's immediate replacement. Who's to say? But it goes back to the conversation that we have right now about LaNorris Sellers. Oh, he's only a runner. No, you saw him run last year. Just because you saw him run doesn't mean he can't pass. Oh, well, he overthrows players. Okay. He also makes a lot of highlight throws. The pass to Mazeo Bennett against Alabama was one of the most prettiest balls I saw last season. When you throw in some of the touchdown receptions that he threw to Nick Harbor last year, they were right on the money. When you look back at how he was able to connect with Josh Simon for first down gains, that wasn't ugly. That wasn't a highlight play that was won by the tight end. That was a perfect throw from 16. So I look at all of these things and I put it together and say, how the hell do you expect me to not think that he is going to improve as a passer? And so if he improves as a passer, if the wide receiver room gets better because they've had an entire offseason to learn the ins and outs of Mike Shula's offense, and you already have two dudes that were figuring out how to play LaNorris Sellers, throw in a third. One guy's going to hit, I think, at least 900 yards. Two guys are going to hit 700 receiving yards. This will be one of the more explosive passing attacks in the SEC. And by the end of the year, we are going to be talking about Mazeo Bennett, Nick Harbor, and insert your third wide receiver. I'm going to go Malik Clark. You can go Jaden Sellers if you want to. They will be household names in the conference. Bold prediction number 3. And I think that this is going to be pretty bold because I don't know if we've ever seen this before. But I think that we will watch as Dylan Stewart sets a record for the most sacks in a single season in SEC football history. I do. I'm going to go that bold. I think that, yes, I can say the college football playoff. But if I say the college football playoff and it doesn't happen, well, number one, that should be the expectation, and it shouldn't be a bold claim. If I say that South Carolina can beat Clemson, can beat Alabama, can beat Oklahoma, that's not really going to be a bold claim because those out in Willy B, knowing what that ravenous night atmosphere is going to feel like, you understand as well as I do, you should win those games or at least be competitive down the stretch in those games. So I said bold. We got to go bold. Dylan Stewart is honestly the biggest freak I have ever seen up close and in person. And he was a freshman last year. Basically, Clayton White told him to just get down and play to his strengths. Win your one-on-one battles, pulverize your offensive linemen, and use your brute 18-year-old muscles to punish quarterbacks. That's what we want. What did he do this offseason? He got bigger, he got stronger, he got faster, he got more agile, and he got more refined. Now it's all about winning with your pass rushing techniques. Now it's all about winning with your first step, having leverage to go ahead and beat up on an offensive tackle, and then taking the proper angles and pursuits to make sure that a quarterback can't turn back and beat you to oblivion. He was only getting started last year, and he became an All-SEC Freshman of the Year, and he was at almost an All-American level first team. And now we talk about what he is going to have to be this upcoming season, because you don't have a Kyle Kennard saving you on the opposing sideline. You don't have a linebacker that you can trust fully to be that difference maker. And yeah, you got some guys in the back end like Jalen Kilgore, who I think is going to be phenomenal, but you got to have that dude who is going to be the enforcer and the man who is going to take over games. This is probably the most important recruit we have seen come through South Carolina since Jadeveon Clowney. And he certainly is the most high upside player since Jadeveon Clowney for a defense. Let's say he starts off really, really hot. Virginia Tech game rolls around in Atlanta Sunday afternoon, and he's winning his battles. He gets 3 sacks. And then he plays the next week, and it's now another 3 sacks. And now we get to the middle of the season, and he's already at 11.5 sacks. You do realize that he can get to 20, and then 20 turns to 23. And then 23 turns to 25. And 25 is a record that is probably almost unheralded and unheard of in the conference. But when you have the upside, when you have the physicality, and when you have the brute strength of a Dylan Stewart and an offseason to get more refined, who are you looking at as an offensive lineman and saying, that guy is stopping 6? That guy's going to slow him down. Because again, that's what this comes down to. Can you slow him down? Most people couldn't last year as a freshman when he was just trying to figure out how to play college football. Now he knows how to play. Now he knows his advantages, and now he knows where his strengths and weaknesses are, and he's polished. And everything is going to look crisp as a team. Hate to break it to you. I think that even though South Carolina may have some questions defensively, they may have also the best defensive player in the SEC. So add all that together, it's a recipe for disaster and a record waiting to be broken. But let me know in the comment section down below, what 3 bold predictions do you have for South Carolina going into 2025? What predictions did I miss on? Like, review, hit subscribe. Make sure you're following us on social media at Mr. Cole Thompson, at SEC Unfiltered. Check out all of our great work found at SECUnfiltered.com. And as always, make sure that you go to FANDUEL.com/SECU and place down your bets today. Win $250 in bonus bets with your first $5 bet. Until next time, folks, I am Cole Thompson. Gamecock Nation! A playoff is in your horizon. Heck, and all these other predictions come true with it. Bye.